Alright, moving on to our next panelist, allow me to read some details of his background. Omar Arif, anak kelahiran Pulau Pinang dan alumni MCKK. Beliau juga berpengalaman 18 tahun dalam bidang sumber manusia di beberapa syarikat multinasional dan merupakan peminat tegar kugiran gitar rancak pop The Strollers. Beliau telah menghasilkan buku tentang The Strollers pada tahun 2019 yang bertajuk The Strollers, Malaysian Pop Legends. So now in a moment, we're going to hear him talk more about The Strollers. Please welcome Omar Arif with his presentation yang bertajuk The Strollers in the 1960s.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. I'd also like to thank Port Ipoh very much for inviting me here today. My introduction was written in English. Somehow they translated it into Malay. It's okay. I just came back from overseas trip to about 10 days. Thursday morning, I arrived in Malacca. And then this morning, I drove from Bukit Jalil, KL, to be here. So, I'm not a musician. I can't play any instrument. I can sing a bit, the Beatles, maybe. I'm also not a journalist. Those were the two questions when people ask me, why did you write the book about the Strollers? Okay, the book, I still have some copies. If you are interested, you can more or less approach me to buy the books. This is attire that I'm wearing is not the attire of the Strollers. This is not 60s. It's something that I came up to promote the book, right? Okay, the Strollers is something that resonates with our nation's past. Okay, I was the second batch that attended Standard 1 in the Malay medium. My brothers, sisters all attended English medium. So if you were from the Malay school and you wanted to go into the government school, you had to go and do 1 year remove kelas peralihan, Malay to English, because the English schools were the government school. Okay, a lot of people do not know that. So the Strollers, their era, they played music from the Shadows, the Ventures, and later on the Beatles. Mostly of them came from the English schools. Okay, in the 60s, the Shadows and Cliff Richard were very, very popular, right? And somehow it began this phenomena where boys from secondary schools started to pick up the guitar and started to strum along to instrumentals played by, firstly, the Shadows. The staple for any boy band, those days, they already boy band, okay, not your 1990s boy band. These were the actual boys playing guitars in a band. Was Apache from the Shadows, right? Instrumental. Then came the Ventures, Hawaii 5-0 phenomena, the Ventures. And also another staple that they would perform was this hit popularized by the bands, the Champions. It's not Sharia compliant, it's called Tequila. The only words to the Tequila song is a 99.9% instrumental. Is when the singer just say Tequila. Think about 3 or 4 times. Okay, Cliff Richard became known as the British Elvis Presley. He's still around. He's 82 or 83. Then he teamed up with the Shadows, and they were so popular next that they were invited to perform a series of concerts to raise funds to build our national monument, Tugu Negara. Okay, Tugu Negara. Right, so everyone was playing Apache, Tequila, Ventures instrumental. Then somebody had to come and spoil the fun. Then came the Beatles, right? The Beatles. And She Loves You, Yeah, Yeah, became Pop, Yeah, Yeah, right? So for those of you who are wondering where the Yeah, Yeah comes, it's She loves you, yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the yeah, yeah. All right. So this was the time, 63, 64. Boy bands were flourishing. If you are from KL, if you know Cochrane School, they had their own band called the Strangers. The frontman, the main singer, was the winner of the Cliff Richard of Malaya competition 1963, Mr. Agus Salim. Agus Salim, pejuang kemerdekaan Indonesia. Bapaknya Abdul Razak. So Abdul Salim bin Abdul Razak was with the Strangers from Cochrane School. In KL also, they had a band, a group of boys from St. John's Institution called the Teenage Hunters. Later on, one guy from St. Michael Institution, Ipoh, Jimmy D. Olivero, came to PJ and became the singer for the Teenage Hunters. There was another band in Klang called the Blue Dominoes. The lead singer and guitarist was a certain gentleman by the name of Michael Magnus. Okay, Michael Magnus. He was already performing in the late 60s with a Hawaiian team band called the Pearl Hawaiians. Then in PJ, there was a group of boys in PJ. They called themselves the Ghosts, hantu. Because this was a band that had no formal musical training. They began jamming at some of their friends' houses. People like Raja Harun al-Rashid, connected to Kuala Kangsar. People like Danny Chang. People like Patrick Scully, Rashid Jafar, Hamzah Nordin, a.k.a. Hamzah Crack. Crack, those days, okay, because he was over-the-top performances. So they were playing in birthday parties. Those days, birthday parties, they had bands playing. I still remember. Birthday parties those days were very fun when I was about 3-4 years old. Okay. Then one day, these boys went and spent all their money in Bukit Bintang, BB Park, and they had no money left, so they walked home. About 3 hours, Bukit Bintang to PJ. So then one of them suggested that they change their names to become more glamorous because they were walking. So they called themselves the Strollers. Okay, next. This is the setup before they called themselves the Strollers. The one nearest to you is actually from Indonesia. Father is Malaysian, from Kulim, press attaché, married to an Indonesian woman. So Amri Majid was raised in Indonesia. Because of konfrontasi, Tunku Abdul Rahman told Amri Majid, kedahan tu kedahan, hang bawa balik, family hang pi Malaysia lah, Malaya. So they went to Malaya. So this Amrin was with the Ghost. So in Kampung Baru, Pop Yeye was really strong. So Amrin, through Billy Cheng, who's still alive, who's going to perform tonight and also be talking tomorrow, brother to Andy Cheng, they went to meet up with one guy called Hassan Idris. Hassan Idris, the father was a senior government servant, right, working for Istana Negara in the later years. Hassan Idris already had his band, Sputnik, the Russian satellite. They call themselves Sputnik. And through Hassan Idris, they wrote another drummer, Ramli Yaakob. He was with a pop yeye band called Sinaran. Right. 4 of them, they call them the Strollers. This photo is interesting because the guy holding the drum kit is called Dola. Nobody knows what happened to him after he left to continue studies. So I've been searching for Dola's identity, nobody knows. Okay, next. So the Strollers were performing in house parties and clubs, and they soon came to the attention of Radio Malaya producer, Mr. Adrian Handroff. So Adrian Hendroff told them, participate in the RTM, Radio Malaya Talent Time 1965. So the Strollers didn't know what to do, so Adrian Hendroff said, you just play instrumentals. They were unsure whether they would even make it to the later rounds, because 1964, Teenage Hunters had won the Beatles of Malaya competition. Somehow, for reasons unknown to them until today, Teenage Hunters did not enter the 1965 RTM Talent Time. So Strollers made it to the finals, and they performed their own song. Unfortunately, the song is lost. It's called In and Out. Why In and Out? Because when they were performing, practicing, the little children were just walking in and out, making a lot of noise. So Amrin, being the joker, he said, let's call our song In and Out. So they lost. They won, but the In and Out is lost. Right. So 1965, here you see them posing with their trophy and certificates. The guy down below was a 19-year-old Victoria Institution boy from KL, Jeb Tan. He became their manager. Okay, he was the only non-musician among them. All right. So 1966 next, they appeared in the RTM's weekly show called Family Corner. Okay, I've tried to find a video of Family Corner. Unfortunately, I can't find anything. But the host of that show was a certain lady called Valerie Al-Bakri. Is the mother of Zahim Al-Bakri, the director, right? So because she was not Malayan enough, so they retired her because she's a white lady, right? So 66 was a big year. 66 also, they appeared in 3 series shows called Rastabouts. Rastabouts was organized by Agus Salim. Okay, it was based on this famous 1960s entertainment called Shindig. You can look up Shindig. All right. Agus Salim was the nephew of senior minister Ghazali. Okay, Ghazali Shafi'i. So through Ghazali Shafi'i, they went all the way to Malacca to buy some band instruments from the band called the Vipers from Malacca. Okay, so Rastabouts was where they met with Agus Salim, and 67, Agus Salim next became their first official vocalist, because they were already popular, but they didn't have a vocalist. So Agus Salim was the first guy. So then, in 67, they were contracted to perform at Jackie's Bowl, where the present KLCC is based. Jackie's Bowl was a first for its time. It was a restaurant, a bowling alley, and a nightclub. Okay, so 3 in 1. I think if you go to KL, the equivalent could be like a life center. Okay, so that was 67. And then 67, they had 2 people living. Agus Salim decided to go to the UK to try his luck and make his name in the hospitality business. Okay, he made it. He came back to Malaysia and retired. And then Amrin Majid was called back to Indonesia by his mother's family to continue his degree, and he became quite well known in Indonesia through business. So when Agus and Amrin left, Jeb Tan recruited Jimmy De Olivero from Ipoh, from Teenage Hunters, to become its singer, and also Michael Magnus to become its lead guitarist and organist. Next. So the new Strollers setup, they were a regular feature in nightclubs and also very popular in University Malaya. If you watch this photograph, you see Michael Magnus sitting at the organ, and he also has a guitar on his lap, right? So he was playing lead guitar and organ. So later he told Hassan, go and learn the lead guitar so that I can focus on singing and playing the organ. Right. So their biggest break came in 69, when they were signed to CBS International Records. They remain the first and only band, Malaysian band, to sign with an international record label to record only English songs. Okay, I'm stopping at 69 because this is 60 Symposium, right? So one song is called I Wanna Thank You by Paul Revere and the Raiders. But Paul Revere, they didn't record it as I Wanna Thank You. They recorded it as One Thank You. Okay, if you scroll I Wanna Thank You, you won't find one yes, Thank You. And the other one is called In Nothing But a House Party, composed by Del Shah and Joe Thomas for the band Showstoppers. Right? So that was where they go into the 70s. Hopefully there will be a 70s symposium and I'll be able to talk more about the Strollers. Thank you very much.